Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. I'm down here in the overflow room, well, just because, but this is not an overflow room review. A bunch of you have been asking me to talk about the new Walton disc with John Wilson and the Sinfonia of London, which has the Scapino Overture, the First Symphony, and the Cello Concerto with Jonathan Aasgaard, a very able soloist. Well, they did one disc of Walton, remember, which I welcomed with open arms. It had the Troilus and Cressida suite, among other works, and it was very, very well done. And as much for the interest in the repertoire as for the performances themselves, but they were quite good. This is as bad as that one was good. And I mean it. And I've seen reviews in the British press which are just shameful, the way they fawn all over this stuff. I wonder if these people actually listen to anything. I really do. I mean, Scapino Overture, let's start at the beginning. It's a jeu d'esprit. It's like 6 minutes of bubbliness. And that goes okay, but it could have much more bite and snap and pizzazz. I mean, I compared it to, Previn and Lytton and all the usual culprits, and they all were just more vivid than this. This is skating over the surface of the music. And that's the problem with these performances, quite frankly. I say it over and over again. The Symphonia of London is a very capable pickup orchestra, but no more than that. They are not one of the world's great ensembles. They do not have the best players in the ensemble. And as a result of that, you get good, decent, note-accurate playing. And sometimes that gets exciting because Wilson tends to choose fast tempi. So things move quickly, and you might mistake that for some sort of expressive validity, but it's not when you compare it to other recordings, which are just demonstrably better in practically every way. And we're going to get to that in a bit. The Cello Concerto, Wilson is an accompanist, and he accompanies really well, and Aasgaard plays really well. He's got virtuosity to burn in the central movement. They don't dawdle ridiculously over all the elegiac stuff at the beginning and the end. It's a nice performance of the Cello Concerto, but there are lots of good performances of Walton's Cello Concerto, and it's not as strong as Concerto. It's a good piece, but it's not like people wake up drooling and say, I gotta have another Walton Cello Concerto. Get me another Walton Cello Concerto. Oh my God, the Walton Cello Concerto. Nah, doesn't happen, unless maybe you're a cellist. So the thing everyone was looking forward to, was the symphony. Now, this symphony is a marvel of coiled energy and rhythmic drive, and it's all based on Sibelius, actually. There are passages that are so Sibelian. Right at the very beginning, when the strings get going, chugga, 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 that's a Sibelian ostinato. And that tune, ya-da-da-dum-ba-da-da. In the oboe, remember Sibelius II? Ya-da-yada-yada-dum-bum. Oh yeah, we've heard you. And the swelling brass chords, those neutron chords for the brass section, like that. Waltons are very dissonant and jazzy and chromatic. Sibelius's are not. But the concept, and that fabulous passage at the end of the first movement with the horns, dum, bum, followed by tuba, boom. It echoes of the swan theme from Sibelius's Fifth Symphony. It's a very Sibelian work. And so it's all about movement. And Wilson is always good when it comes to playing things fast. So I credit him there. But he has completely neglected the dynamic range, the accent, the tension in the work. It's Walton light. It really is. And the orchestra doesn't sound as good as it did on that first record. The strings particularly are very thin. They sound undernourished. And here's the point. Got my score here. So we'll go to figure 34. Figure 34 is where that horn and tuba thing, the swan theme, if you want to call it that, pops up for the first time. And if you look at it, there we go, 34. Here we are. See, there it is. There are the horns. There's the tuba right there, right under there. They're marked fortissimo. Fortissimo, for God's sakes. And marcato, with accents over every single note. And this is beyond tepid. I mean, it's not fortissimo. It's not marcato. It's not anything. It's dreadful. And that's what happens throughout the movement. I mean, this piece rises to these huge triple forte climaxes with accents, junk, 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 like this. The tension should be screwed up to the point where you can't stand it anymore. And there isn't a single moment that actually gets to that point in the first movement. The very end, the brass are marked feroce, ferocious. The timpani are going bum, 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 bum. The strings are going yum, ba-dum, 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 like as hard as they can, fortissimo. And the brass are going da-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. I mean, there's just no ferocity. Zippo, none. Trombones, oh, they're lousy. Again, the notes are all there. And if you're not making comparisons to like Previn or Lytton or Slatkin or the Edward Gardner, you could say, well, okay, maybe it's good because it's all there. But it's not. The scherzo, presto con malizia, with malice. Oh my goodness, it's like the Rondo Burlesque from Mahler's Ninth. The winds particularly, they have to snap and snarl. Da 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 da. It's just bouncy. It's light and it's bouncy, but it doesn't have malice. That's what we need. It has to be sardonic. It has to sound evil. I mean, it's mostly in major keys. It's actually pretty amiable in a lot of places, but you can do it. Let's have some of that, but the strings don't have the weight to do it. They just don't. The slow movement is pretty. It's melancholy. It's melodic. It flows along nicely. No problem there. The finale. Oh my God, what a mess the finale is. Well, let's just go back to our little score here, shall we? If you look at the opening of the finale, here it is. You will see that it's marked. What does that say, folks? What does that say? Maestoso, majestically. And then, a few bars later, it takes off. Brioso ed ardemente, briskly, breezily, like that, Well, first of all, the whole introduction thing is so fast. It's basically the tempo of the allegro to come, the brioso to come. So it has no weight. There's no majesty. There's no festive quality at all. And if you think that this finale is problematic, the answer is not to get through it as quickly as humanly possible. The answer is to play the crap out of it and give it the necessary weight to offset the power of the first couple of movements, which is what all the smart people do. Well, Wilson is not one of the smart people. I mean, you look here. Look at the way Walton has written this. On every single note, tenuto, 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 tenuto. That's what the 10 means. Accent, 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 accent. Every single note in all of the parts. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. And he's marking it, slow down, a tempo, slow down, a tempo, don't slow down, slow down. You've got to give the music breathing room to realize all of these effects. And Wilson does none of it. He just blasts his way through it. And no tenuti. I mean, you can tell that this is not a great orchestra by the fact that they don't play sustained music in a sustained way. Sustain a double forte. Just keep it double forte and really let the music, the power of the music come through. Well, it just doesn't. It really doesn't. Then when he gets to the brioso, the fast part, it's just, I mean, the players are hanging on for dear life. It's good that they can do it. It's good that they can play at that tempo, but they can't play at that tempo. They can get through the notes at that tempo in time together, but they're not making music out of them. That's the point. They're not doing what Walton is asking them to do. They don't have time to realize all the hairpin dynamics. They don't have time to handle those tenuti, the accents, the marcatos. I mean, it's every single note in this music is supposed to have that kind of character, because Walton wants just an elevated level of tension throughout the entire work. And so, when you get to the final big climax with two sets of timpani, the timpani sound like mush. It's bum 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 bada 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 bum 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 bada bada bada, like that. That's what they're doing, essentially. And you've got the tam tam and cymbals, which are well captured, granted, but it's not about the tam tam and the cymbals. I always used to yell, "Oh, you can't hear the tam tam, you can't hear this." Well, but I'd much rather not hear them and hear everybody else doing what they're supposed to do, and giving the music that weight. The percussion is not the solo voice here. The timpani are, to a degree. It really helps if you could hear them better. So it's a failure. As a performance of the First Symphony, it's a total failure. And I know this was like, the gramophone disc of the month. And what can I tell you? I can only, all I can say is that these people are just not listening. They're just not listening. And if they are listening, they don't care. And if they don't care, they don't know. And if they do know, well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's just not a good Walton First Symphony. And that's what the disc is for. All the rest of the stuff is non-essential. We want a great Walton one that really compares to, Previn is still non-pareil. That's still the best. It really is. But with Slatkin, a very, very close second, and Lytton as well. Wilson and his band are an anomaly. They really are. It's just, I know that Chandos and Gramophone have a very cozy relationship, shall we say. I know this for a fact from what people have told me for years and years and years and years and years and years. I'm sure that they have. It's wonderful that they can get funding and make these recordings. Wilson has had amazing recordings, his Broadway musicals, the first Walton disc, the English string music, some of the Copland stuff he did way back when. He's done some really, really fine things, but he's also done some really, really bad things. And these constant blockbuster recordings that require the best virtuoso orchestras to really pull them off, he just hasn't got that. And so we're not getting the results we should get. And it's malpractice for anyone to tell you otherwise. It really is. So there you have it, my friends. Keep on listening. Thank you for joining me. Take care.